Good evening, and welcome to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Lara Prince and Noel Houlihan. We have come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows, to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should just stay doomed. This will be a podcast in which we analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season, including some that ran only one episode. With me, as always, is TV's Noah.
Raise a glass for Sir Ansgar the Breer.
I like the part where you definitely didn't know Sir Ansgard the blank, and you went Sir Ansgard the beer.
De Beards.
No. It's Sir Ansgard the Fierce.
The Fierce?
Yes.
Oh. Raise a glass to Sir Ansgar the Fierce.
So this is episode 2 of The Quest.
Yes.
So this is fun. I don't know how to do the 2-part episodes. This is only our second one.
Welcome back to The Quest.
Welcome back to The Quest. So this is our second episode. We're going to be handling episodes 6 through 10.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
as we last left, we have lost half of our paladins.
yes, we have.
Or roughly half of them. And
as we left, they were singing Sir Ansgard the Fierce, and darkness had fallen over Castle Sanctum.
Yes, we had fallen in love with these characters.
Yes.
They've all been trying to become the one true hero.
Yep.
And they're finally starting to get on Sir Ansgar's good side.
Yep. So, darkness is falling over Castle Sanctum as episode 6 begins.
Right.
And everyone Creo takes 3 of the paladins, Ansgard takes 3 of the paladins as they decide to try to figure out what's happening.
Yes.
And Ansgard discovers a fire orb.
Yes.
Which is essentially like a small ye old nuke.
I guess.
Like, it's a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, 3 can level the castle.
Right.
Something of that nature. So, 7 orbs are missing, and Ansgard sends them to look for them. And they are running through the castle, looking for these fire orbs, and they find nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of time of them just being like, we gotta search our bunks and make sure, because they're also spy orbs, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, something like they can get information back to Dark Lord
Verlox.
Verlox. I was going to mispronounce Verlox again.
Thought you were going to call him Voldemort. So there's 7 orbs for 7 paladins. None of them are able to sleep. Bonnie is leading the charge, trying to look for these orbs.
Yeah, she's very much of this, why should we sleep when we are in danger?
This is such a clever gambit by the producers.
Mm-hmm.
To sleep deprive the contestants to make them a little bit hard up.
It's also interesting to be they feel like they should be doing this, but from a gameplay perspective, they're not going to find anything. They're not meant to find anything tonight.
No, and they're not hidden anywhere where they're looking.
Right.
Because the next day we have the challenge. Ansgard tells us 3 have been found through the night by NPCs.
Right. Good job, NPCs.
So there are 4 left. And
probably those dogs found them.
Yeah.
They seem to be good boys.
They are fantastic boys. So we need to find 4. Now there's 7 paladins remaining and 4 orbs. So this is the bird's eye challenge.
Yes.
Where there's a camera attached to a drone, essentially.
No, that is not what's happening. A falcon is flying around the castle, and using a falcon's eye mask, you can see what the falcon sees, and the falcon is flying near the different locations of these orbs.
Yeah, so Birdie GoPro.
Yeah.
So there's 7 orbs, or there's 4 orbs remaining, and they have to find them, and the 3 who do not find an orb will be sent to the Fates.
Yes.
So this challenge is a lot of everyone looking and trying to scramble around because there are only 4 of them.
Right.
So people are on top of each other.
Yeah, and basically the idea is if you keep watching the bird, you'll get a more direct idea of where the orb is.
But if you take too long watching the bird, someone else will figure it out, and you will lose your opportunity to get that orb.
Yeah, I like this challenge. It felt fair.
It felt fair. It felt like a good balance of being patient and being fast. Lena finds the first orb.
Yes.
She finds it in the battle dome.
In the battle dome with Shondo.
Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Andrew is with him.
Yes, she and Andrew are hunting them down in the battle dome. And she is having a hard... he's having a hard time, and he misses a doorway.
Yeah, he runs past it too fast.
And she stops, and we see this with 3 of the 4 orbs of someone just misses it.
Yeah.
And Lena catches a glimpse of it, and Andrew realizes just as Lena turns in to grab it.
Yeah.
And we get that, too. This, very quick, Andrew is this close.
Yeah, now Andrew does get to then go back to the masks and watch some more.
Yeah.
To see if he can get another one. So
yeah,
it's not like he's out of the game yet.
And then, Leticia and Bonnie are looking in, the caves.
Yeah, I think it's right around where the Asgard fought the orc.
Yes.
It's under that bridge area.
Yeah, so they're looking in this, cave-like area, and same story. Leticia gives kind of more of a perfunctory look. Mm-hmm. Bonnie kind of, gets in there, and Bonnie finds the second orb.
Yes.
And then, Shondo is kind of the least inhibited. Shondo takes his time, takes a moment, and he finds the one that has been left in the Paladin's living quarters. Mm-hmm. And
which was clearly not there when they were looking.
Right. It's, in a weird place, too. It's not, in any of their rooms. Mm-hmm. But Shondo, doesn't have anyone else he's dealing with. Shondo just kind of shows up and he's like, hello.
Yeah,
here's
get my orb. Yeah.
And then Adria has been looking through this one area right outside the castle walls.
Yeah.
And the editors do kind of tip their hand to the audience. We get this dramatic irony of, we see how close Adria was.
Yeah, she's not doing she needed to move some stuff. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't move any stuff.
Yeah, she kind of does the escape room. She doesn't want to disturb any of the setting. Meanwhile, Patrick returns to that area and lays waste to it, and ultimately finds the last orb. So, Andrew, Leticia, and Adria are going to the Fates. And Lena wins the Perseverance.
Yes.
Mark. And she is the first to win 2. And Ansgard makes a comment of
wait, really? Yeah.
Yes, she is the first to win 2.
Right. Because at this point, there's only 2 of them that have not gotten a mark.
Right. Because Adria has not gotten a mark. And I don't think Patrick has gotten a mark yet.
Right.
So Lena wins her second. And Ansgard makes a comment to the effect of, if you win one more, we'll have to get you a bigger shirt.
Yeah.
And it's what a weird comment.
It is an odd thing to say. So,
he leads them to the dungeon where there's an assassin who betrayed the kingdom.
Oh, that's right.
Which I, for some reason, didn't write about early in my notes.
Right. This guy kind of shows up, and he's got, long, stringy black hair, mm-hmm. and, dark makeup. And Asgard recognizes him.
Yeah.
But he's kind of keeping it close to the chest what it is how he knows him. I want to be honest. I thought it was Christian.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Because I was, I had still built it up in my head from the last episode that Christian was going to betray the group.
Yes.
And, Christian had been banished that episode.
Right.
So I thought he was going to come furiously back and, attack the paladins.
That would have been super cool.
It would have been. That is not what happens.
No. So there's the assassin that betrayed the kingdom, and he and Ansgard clearly have history together.
Yeah, we get, a scene where he's interrogating him.
And he's real mad.
And he's real mad, and he, almost backhands him.
Yeah, and Leticia is, wants no part of it. Leticia's, trying to back out of the dungeon this.
I don't want to be in a dungeon.
This is weird. I don't like this. Mm-hmm. And Ansgard throws the assassin's cape at Patrick and tells him to search it. And Patrick finds a bunch of pieces of map.
Right.
And Ansgard sends them up to try to get them to solve the map.
Mm-hmm.
This is another goose chase. There's 2 in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not meant to be able to solve this.
Yeah, they're not given all of the map. I think they believe that it's 2 different maps at one point.
Yes, but they are not given the equipment to... They think this is like a solvable puzzle, and it really isn't. It's also visibly way too hot.
Oh yeah, everyone's glistening.
Except for Bonnie, and I want to know what her skincare routine is, because everyone's like sweating and gross, and Bonnie just looks like, what's up, guys?
Everyone's damp.
Yeah, except for Bonnie. And I'm like, I cared enough to take notes.
Yeah.
And like be mad about it. So then they have a puzzle challenge with the Fates. Again, it is Andrew, Adria, and Leticia who have been brought before the Fates.
Right.
So this is the Sword and Light challenge.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool one where it's, there's different... The Fates fix the map while no one's looking.
Yeah, because they have powers.
And they're trying to figure out from what direction Verlux is coming.
Right.
And they will figure it out through the light going through the hilts of these swords.
Yeah, they have to figure out how to get these swords to line up perfectly so that a laser beam will be shot through all the hilts and reveal on the map where the army is coming from.
Yes.
This is the first challenge from the Fates that affects the plot.
Yes. It's neat. Like, this is starting to become, like, this neat gameplay idea.
Yeah.
We are really picking up in the story as well.
Yeah,
now,
story's
too.
starting to take off now.
So, we see, like, some character development from Andrew here.
Yes.
We see Andrew kind of figuring out that he needs to take his time.
Yeah, he's too impulsive.
He is learning to take his time. He is learning to focus. He doesn't do it correctly the first time, and he takes a minute, steps back, and then like reassesses.
Yeah, instead of getting frustrated like he would normally do.
And it's kind of like a really good character moment for Andrew.
Yeah.
And you can't help but feel like since Christian's gone, he's getting his shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, Christian's gone. I can sort myself out now.
Yeah, figure this out.
So Andrew wins.
Yes, Andrew actually succeeds in the Fates challenge, saving himself, leaving Leticia and Adria.
Yes.
To face banishment.
Yes. So it's this, you get this moment where everyone is trying to figure out who they're going to send home. Leticia or Adria.
Right.
And Lena is the only one who really, like, commits at this point. Like, Lena is like, I'm going for Leticia. Sup.
Right.
Because Lena and Leticia have a very close bond at this point.
Right.
And so then Bonnie and Patrick choose Adria. Shondo and Lena vote for Leticia. Andrew is last again.
Yes, so once again, he's in that, like, swing vote position.
And Andrew, unlike in the previous episode, Andrew doesn't have a illustrated close bond to Adria or Leticia.
Right.
So this is kind of an interesting moment of like, who is he going to pick? And he ultimately chooses to save Leticia.
Yes.
And they kind of talk about it a little bit more. Bonnie and Adria embrace. Patrick also kind of like joins in the family hug.
Yeah.
And they've also discussed that now Verlox is coming from the west. The
Yeah.
Fates reveal that after the elimination.
Yeah, we're now at the point where, like, cool stuff is constantly happening, and these people are all friends, so all the eliminations going forward are kind of bummers.
Yes. But again, they are happening about 3/4 of the way through the episode.
Yes, because a bunch of stuff happens after this.
Yes. We talk a little bit about why people voted the way they did. Shondo chose Leticia because of the reasons Shondo chooses anyone. Leticia has performed well.
Yeah.
He thinks, like, Leticia is kicking ass. I will choose Leticia. Andrew is playing politics.
Yes.
He is aligning himself with the people he believes to be the stronger players, which are Lena, Shondo, and Leticia. And that's why he chooses them.
Right.
So then we're back in the castle, and Ansgard, and this is a cool scene, especially knowing some of the background.
Okay.
The actor who played Ansgard promised the cast wine.
Oh.
And the producers were like, no. And the actor, Peter Windoffer, was like, there will be wine. Get them wine. So they have this little sequence where they're like, kind of boozing, having a few laughs.
It's interesting to think that every other reality show, they are just drowning them in alcohol to make a better show. But not this one. They're like, alcohol? That's sin water.
Well, it also explains why there's far fewer injuries in this show than there are in Opposite Worlds or Daisy of Love.
Yeah, that's true.
No one gets stabbed with a piece of glass on purpose in this one.
Exactly.
Facts. So we're, like, Ansgard is starting to open up to them a little bit as people. Leticia asks the good question. Leticia goes like, well, how did you know that guy?
Yes.
And it comes out that he and Ansgard had been in battle together and had saved one another's lives.
Yes.
And then...
he betrayed the kingdom.
Yeah, he defected for money. He became a sellsword. We get this great moment of Ansgard asking, like, Bonnie if she has someone waiting for her back home. And Bonnie, in one of my favorite character moments of the show, responds with, I'm keeping my options open.
Mm.
And I yelled, get it, girl.
Options are open.
I was like, yeah, go for it. And then, like, he asks Lena the same question. She also hedges a little bit, like,
we'll see.
So Ansgard's like, we're gonna have a few drinks and we're gonna have fun.
Don't forget my favorite moment where Patrick, like, tries to be serious and he's like, so what is our next move? And Asgard goes, tonight, we drink!
Yes. Tonight, we drink.
Yes. You also may notice, this is something I meant to bring up a little bit earlier, that we didn't play a clip there. Or maybe we did, I don't know. But clips are very difficult for this part, because last episode, I have to say a quick thank you to Nick Draco on YouTube, who made a movie out of the first 5 episodes of The Quest. So, thus I had access to clips from the first 5 episodes. He didn't make a part 2 to that movie, so I don't know if I'll have clips for this episode. So if there's less clips, I apologize. Just wanted to throw that out there in case you're sitting there wondering, hey, where are all the clips?
Yeah, we find out a little bit more about Ansgar's life. He was married.
Yes.
He also, according to the quest book, has 5 kids.
5 kids?
5 kids. He's Ansgar. He's Ansgar the Fierce.
Yes. There must have been quite a few impressive warriors.
So, we don't really know what happened to Ansgar's wife, and he kind of says, like, I have my sword and I have my queen, so that's good. So we don't really know where she is in this moment.
Right.
And so after Ansgard declares, like, we're going to have drinks and fun, Leticia toasts to him. And then, as is happening at the end of every episode now, something bad happens.
Yes, we get the cliffhanger.
The castle is on fire.
Right.
Verlox has arrived. And the episode ends with Creo moving protectively in front of the queen.
Yes.
Poor Creo.
Poor Creo. Creo does not get enough camera time in general, in my opinion.
I agree, especially because Creo is the first person we meet. So I really thought we were going to see so much more of Creo.
Right.
But we see he's not quite as charismatic as Ansgar, and his character is not.
Well, we didn't mention this last episode, but there's a part where Asgar's really mean to him.
Yes.
Where he's like, Creo, come here. And Creo walks up. He's like, yes, sir, Asgard. He goes, this man's a coward. I would never go to war with him. Look at him. And he just kind of stands there and takes it and gets all bummed out.
It's during the Battle Dome episode.
Yeah.
When he's trying to get him to, not be nice to their competitors.
Yes.
He just absolutely craps on Creo.
Yes, poor Creo.
Apparently, there was a joke about sword size.
Oh.
that was among the cast and crew.
Creo only has a little dagger.
Yes.
Did I nail it?
Yes. Pretty much. And
He's not swinging that broadsword around.
I believe the joke was that actually, like, because Patrick was very tall, he needed, like, they needed to get him, like, a larger sword than the prop department had, so the fight coordinator had to give Patrick one of his own swords.
Oh, interesting.
So Patrick would, like, mess with Ansgard, and, like, when Ansgard, and start, like, unsheathing his giant sword.
Yeah. Look how big my sword is.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Bet I could kill you with just the tip. If I just got the tip in.
Yikes. Oh my god. It's weird because, like, we've been in contact with people who were involved in the show.
Spoilies!
Yeah, but it's so uncomfortable saying that. So I'm just like, oh, nope. So it was this whole really just funny joke between them and with Creo. But poor Creo.
Yeah.
So this brings us to episode 7.
Right.
Verlax arrives and he looks like Tim Curry from Legend.
Yes! That is but like gray.
Yeah, like a gray-white version.
Yes.
So he's less explicitly the devil.
Mm-hmm. But he's pretty scurry.
It's kind of like how the hag looked like Miracle Max from The Princess Bride.
Yes.
Like, the makeup designs are a little bit stolen.
A little on the nose.
So, the soldiers fight, and every named character and the paladins haul damn butts out.
Yeah. We're leaving the castle. We're getting out of here.
They are escaping.
Verlax arrived from the west, as predicted.
Yeah, but faster than they thought.
But pretty dang quick.
And the Vizier pops up. And Shondo is over it. Mm-hmm. Shondo is like, I don't trust this guy. This guy sucks.
Yeah, it took a while for them to just all of a sudden be like, hey, this guy is really suspicious. It's like, yeah, he's been suspicious from the beginning.
And this also might be editors. Like, this is the first time the talking heads have said, like, I find him suspicious. They might have been doing that since episode 2.
That's true.
And the editors just aren't showing us that because they don't want to show us that yet.
Right.
And, they kind of say the Vizier is a politician.
Yes.
So he should be a little bit shady.
Yes.
He's not a noble queen or, like, you know, a dashing knight or a dweeb, dreamer, steward, whatever Creo is.
A dagger-wielding steward.
So,
but he does have a necklace for the queen.
Yeah, an amulet of protection. And the queen accepts it gratefully. And they're kind of like, okay, well, what do we do now, Ansgar? And Ansgar, he didn't say it in this many words, but essentially, well, we're boned.
Yeah.
The quest is over, we are boned.
Yeah. All is lost.
And then Creo stands up. Creo takes a stand. And Creo says, like, this isn't how it happened in my dreams. The quest is not over. This is our only way.
Yeah, this is part of it. The fates would not deny us or something like that.
Yes. Because Creo's kind of, like, has these prophetic dreams. And that's why we're just trusting Creo at this point. So Ansgar takes the paladins, and Creo takes the queen, and they split up. Mm-hmm. So, we get they just, like, camp overnight somewhere. Or they're running all night. Are they running all night?
They're underground.
Right.
This is the part where they're underground, and then there's a moment where they're like, just find a place to sleep. We're staying down here for the night.
Yeah, so they have, like, their bedrolls, and it's uncomfortable and crappy, and no one's happy about it.
Yes, and then once they're out, I forget where they're attempting to go.
At this point, they were just attempting to escape, and then they are going to be reuniting with the queen at her campsite soon.
Right.
But they needed to split up for some reason.
Yeah, they separate. They have to make...
Oh, there's just too many of them, and it's not safe for the queen. It would be safer for the queen to travel alone with Creo.
Yes.
Instead of with 6 paladins, Ansgar, the Vizier, Creo.
Right.
Like, that's just too many people to keep eyes on.
Right.
So, we get... the next morning, we have the next challenge.
Right.
And this is the flag key code challenge.
Yeah, this is a good challenge. I like this challenge.
And they're sending a message to the soldiers.
Yeah.
In coded flags about what's happening. And it splits up boys and girls.
Yeah, this is a gameplay thing that bothered me.
Okay.
This is like the 4th or 5th or 7th game that starts with draw arrows.
Yeah.
That, like, element kind of started to bum me out. That we're like, before we do anything, here's random draw.
Yeah.
I really would have liked this to, because this is something they played with earlier, if it was the symbols that they earned.
Yeah.
Because in the Battle Dome Challenge, the 3 team captains were those who had earned badges.
Yeah.
So, like, this would be a great opportunity for those badges to do something.
Yes.
Where it's like, yeah, if you have this badge, you're a team captain or something like that. Because then you have a thing of value. Like, this is all, like, from a reality show point of view.
Right.
People with badges have things with value, which means there's a reason to target them. Because as long as they're there, they will have this badge and have it over you. And then there's also a reason to befriend them because they have power in the game. But instead, it's draw an arrow. If your tip is red, you're a captain.
I think the thing that's hard is at this point, Lena has 2 badges. Andrew, Shondo, Leticia, and Bonnie each have 1 badge, and Patrick has none badges.
Right. It could be as simple as, like, who won the previous one.
Right.
But I think an element like that would have helped gameplay in terms of strategy and interesting reality show. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So, the girls actually think they're coming in with an advantage because it's symbols and colors.
Yeah, so, yeah, to refresh, Lena picks the teams.
Yes.
Along with, who's the other team captain?
I believe Andrew.
Andrew. And Lena ends up picking Bonnie and Leticia. Mm-hmm. And one person must go up into a crow's nest type thing.
Yes.
And yell flag, shapes, colors, designs.
Yeah.
So that they can put a coded message up and then hoist it up a tree so that the armies can see it and know what to do.
Right. So they send Bonnie up because Bonnie did very well with that in the first challenge.
Right.
And they send Patrick up.
Yes, because he's a math teacher.
Yes. Which they mention 4,600 times.
Yeah, they bring it up a lot.
He's a math teacher. You know, shapes. I was like, is he a geometry teacher for 5-year-olds? Because,
hey,
shapes and colors are...
This ends up being quite important.
Yes. Bonnie keeps yelling Pentagon, and it comes out that Leticia and Lena do not seem to know what a pentagon is.
Yeah, they end up picking up an octagon.
Yes.
Because they're like, it's a black pentagon on a red background. And they put a black octagon up on a red background.
And because of that, the men win.
Yeah, Asgard just keeps telling them that they're wrong, but will not help them.
Yes.
Which is a little harsh for the plot.
Yeah.
But whatever.
So this is a decisive victory for the men.
Yes. And then the men actually end up helping the women complete theirs.
Yes, which is the first time we see this of once you have lost... Well, it's not the first time because we see it with the Fates Challenge with Bonnie.
Yes.
But once you have completed yours, you begin to assist the other team.
Right.
So, Patrick is nominated to be the one who wins the mark.
Yes.
And again, this is Andrew and Shondo going, Patrick was the MVP, Patrick gets the mark.
Yes, and I find this very interesting. At this point, everyone playing has earned a mark.
And no one with a mark has gone home.
So, it does create this story of, these are the best.
Yeah, these are the top 6 people.
Yeah.
So, I have a note about Ansgar having a lot of chemistry with Patrick in this sequence. Just saying.
He's got a big broadsword.
He does. So then they go to the campsite, and, it's a really nice campsite.
Yes.
They've, set up these, nice...
Now, I believe we may have missed this, but they make a camouflaged, fallback hut.
Yes.
Which...
Yes, they build a structure, and Patrick takes charge of that.
Yeah.
And that's when Ansgar is, all over Patrick.
Because Asgar's I have to go do a thing.
He's checking on the queen.
Yeah. You guys make a shelter. I'll be back. And when I'm back, there better be a shelter. And then Asgar comes back, and he's like, this is a really good shelter. This was supposed to be part of the show where I yell at you guys for failing, but you guys did a real good job.
Yeah, and, Patrick had been in charge of it.
Yeah.
This is This is like Patrick's episode where he like really kind of comes from he was never like behind, but it's when he suddenly rises to like
he hasn't shined yet.
Yeah, this is his time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get there and there's a boys' tent and a girls' tent. And I have a note about Lena talking about going to carnivals for some reason.
I don't recall this.
She, like, talks about how she used to go to carnivals and how this, like, reminds her of a carnival.
Oh.
Like, with the tents and stuff.
Okay.
And so the girls are all going to the Hall of Fates.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. And they're kind of telling this story of, like, Lena feels guilty because if she hadn't gone all girls, then a girl could, like, they wouldn't have guaranteed that a girl was going home.
Yeah, and she thought she was protecting all the girls because they thought they had a lock on this challenge.
But no, she damned them. And Bonnie blamed herself because she said pentagon instead of 5 sides, which is the thing that would have probably won the challenge for them.
Yes. Because they were ultimately faster. They were just less accurate. So, Creo takes the women away to their challenge, and this looked like it was shot day to night.
Yeah, this is something that you bring up at this point that is probably true. It looks like this was probably shot in the daytime.
Or day 4 night is the word, not day 2 night.
Yeah. It was probably shot in the daytime and then color corrected to look like it was nighttime.
Yes, which was a common thing they would do for horror movies.
Right.
So you're shooting during the day, but you're going to regrade it so it looks like it's nighttime.
Right.
Which is really obvious in this one because the moonlight looks very unnatural.
Yeah.
But it also looks like it would have to because you're in the forest. It's been the full moon the entire time they've been there. I want to point that out.
Yeah, that's just how it is in this realm.
So it's an observation and memory test. All 3 girls are sitting up in trees, looking over Verlox's forces.
Yes.
That are riding by, and they need to remember everything they see.
Yes. And then after, like, they all ride by, they have to take a written test. And it's stuff like, how many shields did you see? How many spears did you see? How many scorpions did you see?
It's interesting because they do a verbal interview with Ansgar first.
No, that's after, because they're reading the test to him.
Okay.
Yeah. This way that they do it this way so that they're all saying the same thing with different information.
Yes.
Like, I saw 4 spears, I saw 5 spears, I saw 3 spears. Just to show, like, they vary on this answer.
Yes.
This is a bit of a bummer because the way it's shot, there's not a real good way for us to play along.
Yeah.
Because it cuts to different angles, so I'm like, I don't know if that's the same guy.
Yeah.
So I don't, there's no way for me to be like, ooh, Bonnie's clearly wrong. Because I know when I played, I only saw 4 spears.
Well, I think part of it is, this is how they're creating drama in the show, because, the contestants all get along really well. So your usual reality show drama is not in play.
Right.
So I think that's how they're creating suspense, because they do it with most of the Fates challenges, where it's really ambiguous who is doing the best.
Right, right.
So I think that's how they're going to create the suspense and create the drama.
Well, I mean, I think they could have created a good amount of dramatic irony of, we as the audience, are pretty sure we saw X. So when someone else gets it wrong, we're like, ooh.
Ooh, you boned.
That means bad stuff for you, Bonnie.
Well, you keep saying Bonnie gets it wrong. Bad news for Bonnie. Bonnie wins.
Yeah. Twist.
What a twist. And Andrew and Patrick immediately praise her. They're proud of her. And now they have to decide between Lena and Leticia.
Yes.
This elimination sucks.
It really does.
This is the one to me that, hurts the worst.
This is a gut punch.
So, again, we have the scene where they're all around the stone table and they're all talking about it, and it's very ambiguous because they don't want to tip their hand on who's going to win. And Lena's standing there, and Patrick immediately stands behind Lena. And then Shondo. And then Bonnie. And then Andrew. So Leticia...
It's unanimous.
So Leticia, who stood alone behind Christian, because no one should have to turn around and see no one there. Leticia is, at this moment, the only competitor who that happens to.
Yeah, turns around, sees no one.
And Leticia is deeply upset when that happens. And the only person she says goodbye to and embraces is Lena.
Yeah.
Who Leticia swears up and down would have stood behind her.
Yeah.
But since Lena was the other person up for elimination, that was clearly not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it also keeps Lena's hands clean.
Yeah.
In a way that reminds me of Sam from Opposite Worlds. Of like,
yeah.
Lena, to this point, hasn't really ever had to betray anybody or hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get back to camp, and Shondo is, like, justifying what happened. But no one, like, feels good about it.
Yeah, everyone's bummed, but happy Lena's there.
Yeah, like, Lena is profusely thanking everyone. She's really upset about losing Leticia, and she's very, like, she's grateful, but she's sad.
Yeah.
And everyone's pretty upset about losing Leticia, because now, like, the eliminations are starting to hurt them.
Yeah.
Now you are getting rid of someone you are actually close to every time.
And also, like, your vote matters more when there's less people voting.
Right.
Like, when there's 10 people voting, it's like, all right, like, I could make a vote and no one will.
Yeah, Leticia could throw her vote away.
Yeah.
To spare Christian's feelings.
Yeah.
Although, the numbers game, somebody could have stood behind Leticia.
Yeah.
It would have been 3-1.
It makes me wonder if they had to lock in a vote before walking in.
Yeah, and I haven't found anything telling me how they did that. I'm going to try to find out.
Okay.
Foreshadowing. And then the 3 named characters, Creo, Ansgar, and the Queen, roll up. And then we hear a roar. And then we get this dramatic shot of a dragon in the distance.
Yes, it's a dragon.
Episode 7's over.
Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Dragons.
Episode 8.
Yeah, we're going to see some dragons. Spoiler, we never see any dragons.
We do. We see, like, a couple shots in this very beginning part.
Yeah.
That's clearly not something the paladins see.
Yeah.
It's clearly for our benefit.
Yeah.
The Queen is done being passive.
Yeah.
The Queen's like, F this, we're gonna do some shit. And then I don't know what this is in response to, but I have a note that says, like, screw it, I want to go on a quest with Shondo. I'm guessing Shondo was like, I'm doing this! And I was like, I feel like he'd be a really fun person to go on a quest with.
Absolutely.
So they march all night, and they find the nearest town. And it's in burned ruins.
Yes, destroyed.
But there are 2 people alive. They're talking about how, like, the dragon's currently in its den. Verlox has released the dragon from its den, but at nightfall the dragon will come back out and lay waste to another city.
Yeah, but it gets all sleepies.
They're nocturnal.
And it has to go to bed.
So Ansgar stays with the paladins, and Creo and the Queen are like, well, goodbye. As they often do for the challenges.
Yeah.
Creo and the Queen kind of show up and they're like, we're still characters. Alright,
yes.
peace.
Good luck.
So now this is the winch challenge to trap the dragon.
Yeah, they're given, like, gears, and they have to put them in the correct spots.
Yes.
And then crank closed a gate that will seal the dragon inside.
Yes.
So there's a mix of, like, puzzle to put everything together, and then cranking speed. So it's, physical as well.
Yeah, and that's a good game.
Yeah, like...
That it's not, especially with this few players left, I think it's really good that we have something that's multiple skill sets required.
Yeah.
Because then it's not like, oh, it's a purely physical challenge, which puts Bonnie and Lena at a disadvantage. Or it's a purely mental challenge, which might put Andrew at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I could totally believe that Bonnie could put hers together first. Shondo could put his together second, and then beat Bonnie in crank speed.
Yes. So, Andrew actually wins this challenge.
Yes. And again, we have that plot of, like, well, we still have to seal the dragon. So everybody, like, has to finish.
But what it is Andrew wins, and then the 4 of them have to finish, and then the second person has to complete their winch alone. And then Andrew can start assisting.
Oh, right, because we need a bottom 3.
Yes. So Shondo completes his as well. And then Andrew and Shondo help Lena, Bonnie, and Patrick.
Yes.
Andrew wins the Mark of Bravery. And Ansgar says, like, okay, we need to start camouflaging the campsite.
Well, don't forget my favorite moment where Creo comes out and is like, you did it. You sealed everything. I don't feel safe here. he's just like, oh, well, I'm glad to be back with my friends. Oh, there's like a dragon. I don't like this.
Yeah, like, it's really endearing. Poor Creo.
Yes.
And there's this really good moment at the campsite before the Fates Challenge. And Patrick is like, hey, so the Vizier is, like, shady, right?
Yeah, have you guys picked up on this?
And the other paladins readily agree.
Mm-hmm.
And Ansgar goes like, this is high treason, y'all.
Yeah, you know what you're speaking of is treason.
And finally it's time for the Fates Challenge. Because there are dragon eggs.
Yes.
That need disposing.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen arrives to the Hall of Fates for the first time.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, look at this. It makes it feel a little bit more special.
Yeah, and like, Creo has always been there with them. And he's like, yeah, this is pretty great. Told you I could find it.
It's not nifty, right?
So what it is there's 3 dragon's eggs down at the bottom of 3 holes.
Yes, like a well.
And there is a chute they need to get them up through. It's like a cage.
Yeah, it's a like a cage chute. It's like a big cylindrical tube.
Yes.
With slits in it.
Yeah, like it's made out of sticks.
Yeah, I thought it was made out of metal.
No, you're right. It's made out of like
Yeah.
It looks like a portcullis.
Yeah.
All 3, and then each of them has 2 sticks.
Yes.
So what they need to do is they need to get the egg from the hole up out of the hole, and then they need to wrap it in a net.
Right.
You cannot touch it. It will burn your skin.
It'll burn your skin.
And then you need to take the net and drag it to a certain place.
Yeah.
And Ansgar will take care of the remaining eggs after that. So everyone gets in their hole. Lena complains about how bad it smells.
Yeah, they kept saying that it's actually smelled really bad.
Yes, and another paladin has confirmed that when an eliminated paladin comes... Not the paladin eliminated in this episode, the paladin eliminated in episode 9. So a couple days later, that paladin still smelled bad from this challenge. So it did really smell real bad. So Bonnie is on the struggle bus here. This is another physical challenge. She's having a very hard time. Patrick and Lena are neck and neck.
Yes.
But in the 11th hour, Lena's tumbles down.
Yeah, it falls back down the chute.
And this is when I'm sure that they looped in audio, because there's no way that happens and Lena didn't say a whole bunch of swear words.
Yeah, probably.
So Patrick, at this point, then wins.
Yes.
Because Lena's falls right about when they're both about to get it out of the chute.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrick wins, and he goes full opposite worlds Frank beast mode.
Yes.
Like, roars. He doesn't pull his shirt off.
Yeah.
But, like, you get the idea that unlike Frank, he probably could have.
Yeah, he's feeling that good.
So, Bonnie gets hers about a third of the way up and then drops hers as well. And then Patrick climbs down to help Bonnie.
Yes, because we still have to destroy these eggs, plot-wise. As a challenge, this is probably the one I felt like was the least safe.
This one also felt like the least explained.
Well, I think part of it was like, there's an egg down here, you have to get it up without touching it.
Yes.
And, like, part of that is figuring out how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And then realizing, I can roll it up the chute and stick these planks in. And then, like, slowly just work it up doing that.
Yeah.
But, like, what everyone does is, when they say get down there, they all go down the chute, thinking, this is how you go down. On the way up, you have to climb on the outside of the chute. Mm-hmm. The way up is at least, like, 10 feet, right?
Right.
So falling off of that would really suck.
It would.
So this is the first time I was like, ooh, there's like no harness involved here.
No. So, Patrick is helping Bonnie. Lena is working alone. Bonnie and Lena finish very close together.
Yes.
The difference being, Lena technically comes third.
Yes.
But Lena has done hers entirely on her own.
Right.
Like, outside of physically dragging the egg at the end. Because Patrick drags Bonnie's over and then comes back and helps Lena drag hers. But in the end, Lena would have completed her challenge alone and Bonnie would not have.
Yes.
So, they're in the round table. Patrick has been spared. And now it's the three men.
Yeah.
And Patrick really tries to advocate for Bonnie.
Yeah.
And also, like, you see him kind of struggle with telling the truth about what happened in the challenge.
Yeah.
Because Andrew and Shondo didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick does not lie. But he clearly doesn't, like, he has a hard time saying that, like, Lena did complete the challenge alone.
Yeah.
And Bonnie required help.
Yes. It was definitely an element of, like, it wasn't just Patrick is closer to Bonnie, so Patrick helped Bonnie. It was, if Bonnie did not receive help, it is questionable whether or not this would ever be completed.
And then we get the Hall of Fate sequence, and there's an amazing shot.
Yeah.
The cinematography in this is sometimes really good, and it's the two girls who are up for elimination from the side. Bonnie is in the foreground, like, crying quietly.
Yes.
Like, full tears. She's not, like, blubbering, but, like, you can see the tears streaming down her face. And you see Lena in the background, resolute.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andrew comes in, and Andrew chooses Lena.
Yes.
Patrick comes in and chooses Bonnie.
Yes.
Leaving Shondo to be the deciding vote.
Mm-hmm.
Shondo will always vote for performance.
Yep.
So Lena is chosen to stay.
Yes.
And we realize about then that Bonnie has removed her pin.
Right.
And Bonnie, I believe, gives her pin to Patrick.
Yes.
Which she said she was going to do the last time she was up for elimination.
Mm-hmm.
Lena and Bonnie embrace, and then we actually get an elimination montage for Bonnie, because we're now like very close to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's only 2 more episodes after this. So this is an elimination that hurts, especially because Bonnie has been the heart of the group.
Yeah, the heart of the show. She sang a song.
She sang a couple songs.
Sang a couple songs, yeah.
So everyone talks about her. Like, you know, Patrick talks about how great she is and how much he cares about her. Andrew talks about how he learned compassion and heart from Bonnie. Lena and Shondo both speak well of her. This is clearly the heartbreaker elimination.
Yes, it is.
The producers are really, really pushing how much this elimination sucks. And they always say the paladins, the paladins, the paladins. Bonnie is a pitch-perfect bard.
Yep.
Magic and adventure go hand in hand as you quest upon Everhelm's land. Your journey is now about to begin. Remember, the true hero lies within.
And this is when the show gets a little tropey, because this is about an quest when you would likely lose your bard.
Yeah.
Like, getting toward the end of the quest, your bard has outlived their usefulness in the quest. Like, you don't really need the comic relief anymore, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really need the heart of the group, and it's also giving them something motivational of, like, you know, we loved Bonnie, and now Bonnie's gone. And we see the 4 of them mourn for Bonnie. And then you kind of see Lena processing. This is the second elimination in a row where Lena has lost one of the girls, but gotten to stay. And she was like, this is my life. I have 3 older brothers, and now I'm back to that. And we see them sitting around the fire, and, like, Lena does not have a cape to her costume. I believe it's because, like, they just didn't have one when they were in the Hall of Fates, because all 3 men do.
Yeah.
So she is by herself, kind of, like, freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And we get this good character moment for the queen.
Yes.
who insists on giving Lena her cape.
Yeah. This was a pretty cool moment.
And it's like a nice little moment. And they're talking about Bonnie, and they're talking about Bonnie's songs and how much they miss her. And somebody suggests singing one of the songs, and they're like, we can't.
No, we can't sing without Bonnie.
Oh, I believe the Queen wanted to hear it, and they were like, we can't do it justice with no Bonnie.
And they all stare blankly at her for a moment. And then go, raise a glass! Then they stop and wait for the Bonnie part.
They do not do this.
They do not do that.
So, now we have the plot part
Yes.
where the Queen's in her tent and Creo is taking the first watch. And everyone asks Creo if he wants company.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite moments of the series.
Oh.
Shondo goes, if you need anything, give a holler.
Yeah. And
Creo does not get it.
Give a holla.
Yeah, like it's Creo trying to translate. Like, I wouldn't even realize that was slang.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a strange comment to fixate on.
Yeah, I mean, like, the word holler is probably a word he'd know, but holla is not.
I guess, yeah. So, Ansgar, like, scolds Creo and tells him to keep alert. The paladins go to their respective tents. So I guess poor Lena's, like, by herself in her tent now.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Lonely tent.
And Ansgar is sleeping outside in some rocks because he's Ansgar, and I guess, you know, even though, like, think about this logically. Even if he didn't want to, like, share a tent with Lena, because it wouldn't be, like, you know, it'd be, improper. He could have just taken, like, Leticia's cot.
Yeah.
And dragged it outside and slept on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really silly to me for some reason. And Creo clearly has, like, a bad feeling.
Yes.
And inside we see the Queen's amulet begin to grow.
Yes. Now, I was 90% sure we were losing Creo.
Yeah, this really looks like they're about to kill Creo.
That they are setting up for Creo's death.
So Creo falls asleep in a way that doesn't really look like Creo falls asleep on purpose.
Right.
Like there might have been something in play.
Yeah, because he's like sitting up.
Yeah. And then we see the shadow of something green, a scary music sting, and that is how episode 8 ends.
Yes.
Episode 9.
Yes.
So, Creo, the Paladins, Ansgar, and the Queen get kidnapped by the fish people from the Shape of Water.
They are, to me, clearly a Land of the Lost reference.
Yeah, they look like the fish people from the Shape of Water, though.
Alright.
They are called the Rana.
Right.
That is their actual species name.
Yes, Rana means frog.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I know that because I know what the word hurricane Rana means.
That makes perfect sense. So they are brought before the king of the Rana.
Yes.
And their hands are tied. And they kind of start talking at the paladins a little bit. And they're like, why should we believe that you're fated to save us from Verlox? What should we... And Lena
jumps up,
shoves through all three guys, and is like, kind of just says her piece about how, like, this is what I am fated to do. Mm-hmm. I am going to do this.
Right.
And then Patrick speaks next, and Patrick says, like, I left my family to save Everhelm. This isn't my world, but I've come here to fight for it. Mm-hmm. Like, Patrick gives, like, a really solid Chosen One speech.
Yeah.
Shondo talks about why he is the best, specifically.
Yes.
And then Andrew is, like, weirdly fantasy racist.
What did he say?
I forget what I said he's fantasy racist in my notes. Of, like, he just kind of is, like, talking about how ugly the Rana are. And he's like really awkward.
He said something about, like, not being able to connect with you people or something.
Yeah, like, it's very weird and, like, well-meaning fantasy racist.
Yes, and the king does have, like, an hourglass. So everybody gets, like, time to speak.
Yes.
But the whole time, there's, like, some sort of servant whispering in the king's ear.
Yes. And, the servant unmasks himself.
Yes.
And he's the Grand Vizier!
Oh my... Who could have possibly seen this coming?
And they do not choose to help the Paladins, the Queen, and Creo, and they've betrayed them. So they put each of the paladins in a separate cage.
Yes. And, like, this is the first time where, like, there's, like, acting required.
Yes.
So, like, all of the paladins are, like, yelling sound bites. They're like, we're here to help! You're making a mistake!
Yes. And then Creo, the queen, and Ansgar are in their own little cage.
Yes.
They're not real happy about it.
And they're all, they all feel very defeated.
So they're all defeated, but you see Lena sitting in her cage or standing in her cage, and she's visibly, like, looking up and looking around.
Yes. She knows what's up.
Like, she doesn't know what the challenge is yet, but knows that this is the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So they then figure out the puzzle of the challenge, and this is when there's clearly...
But by they, you mean Creo.
Yes.
Creo's like, wait, we're not lost. This is the challenge.
Yes. And so Creo kind of tells them what they need to do.
Yes.
They need to throw a lasso and haul their cages are, like, on a pulley system.
Yes.
So they need to haul themselves in their cages to where there's a, like, sharp stone.
No, it's a knife.
There's a knife.
It's just like, oh, there are knives just suspended in the air nearby.
As one does. So they have to get to a knife that they can use to cut themselves free.
Yeah, because they're just kind of, like, tied into the cages.
Yeah, they just can't, it's like a knot they can't get through.
Right.
So they have to cut the ropes of their cage, and then they're free, and the first person out will be spared from the fates.
Yes.
But there's only 4 of them left now, so only the first person.
Mm-hmm.
And the first person is Andrew.
Yes, Andrew cuts himself free, and then, like, as soon as he's out, he, like, grabs all the knives.
And just distributes the knives.
And distributes them. There was this moment where I totally thought, like, Andrew was going to take all the knives and leave.
Oh my god.
And turn on the group.
You are really obsessed with the idea of someone turning on this group.
But, like, it's the whole... I mean, I guess that's just how I play D&D.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the whole idea where it's like, I'm out. And then he just runs up and he goes, the prisoners are trying to get away. I'm here. And just taking the Grand Vizier's job.
So, if you've never played an RPG or a LARP or a tabletop game with Noah, don't, because he's an asshole. So
I always want to betray somebody.
You do. I can't believe that, like...
I can't believe people play with me.
1, I can't believe people play with you. 2, I can't believe you've never betrayed someone you're actually friends with.
No, because it's a fantasy, and in reality, I'm very loyal and kind. I want to be able to play a fantasy character, and in my dreams, in my fantasies, I dream about being a douchebag.
So Andrew, they're racing against time, and Andrew gets the rest of the paladins, and Ansgar, Creo, and the Queen out of their cages, and they all haul it.
Yeah, and she takes off the necklace.
Yeah, and then the Rana realize they're gone.
Yes.
Because we now realize the necklace was like a homing beacon.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew receives his 3rd mark, that of strength. And they're now in like a cave-like shelter, because they can't go back to their campsite.
Right.
And there's a really great conversation with Shondo and Lena about decorating the shelter.
Oh, I think
where Shonda's like, you did a really good job decorating this shelter. And Lena goes, aren't you glad there's still a girl here? Needed a woman's touch. And Shonda's like, yeah, this mid-century furniture. Like, it's this very, like, silly, fun...
Well, there's also, like, a moment, I think we might have missed it, where Lena, like, throws water on Andrew.
Yeah.
And Andrew goes, I'll keep that in mind when it comes to the Fates challenge.
And she's like, ah.
And she's like, that is not funny.
Yeah, like, it's this very... Like, we see the rapport really well here in these people. And we get the same, like, B-roll of the full moon. And what's happening is now there's banshees. There's a banshee who makes a horrible noise.
Yes.
And you have to get an offering to her for safe passage.
Yes.
And it's apparently eggs, but I thought it was lemons, because I guess banshees are prone to scurvy.
No, I'm pretty sure they're eggs.
Yeah, no, they are eggs. I thought they were lemons.
You thought they were lemons.
Because I have a...
Well, then why not an orange?
Oh.
Why don't you eat the lemon?
Well, she's scary looking.
Just because you keep giving them lemons.
And one thing I need to point out that I didn't put in my notes is we get this, like, before the episode starts, they build up each of the 4 remaining paladins.
Yes, yeah, there's like
and there's like a little
sizzle
vignette on
reel.
each one. And each of them is a trope
Yes.
at this point. Lena is the underdog.
Right.
Lena's, like, the only girl, the smallest, the weakest. She is the underdog.
Yes.
Patrick is the hero archetype. They kind of make him look like the front runner.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew is the impetuous young fighter who, like, can't get out of his own way very well.
Right.
Which is, like, a super trope. And, like, most stories revolve around the Andrew-type character learning to focus and learning to become...
Right.
It's, you know, Luke Skywalker whining about power converters, becoming Luke the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then Shondo is the brave warrior who is completely confident in himself and his abilities.
Yes.
So we have those vignettes, and that's kind of what the producers want us to go in thinking. Now, Lena, Shondo, and Patrick are the 3 going up for the fates.
Yeah.
And they have to cross this gross bog without dropping their tray or their eggs.
Yes.
And if they do, they have to go back and get new ones.
Yeah, it's this weird, like, floating, like, balance game.
Yes. And Lena decides she's going to go slowly.
Yeah.
And Shondo and Andrew are trying to run. Or Shondo and Patrick are trying to move quickly.
Right.
Which, this almost pays off for Lena.
Yeah, because they both, like, fall in the water pretty quickly.
And Lena almost makes it the entire way. Mm-hmm. It's the egg challenge all over again. She makes it, like, 90% of the way, and then falls.
Yeah, it looks like she's, like, on something that spins.
Yeah, she has to transition from one platform to another.
Yeah.
And that transition kills her.
She just loses it.
So, Shondo ultimately gets there first. And the Banshee touches his face. And we get this great talking head of Shondo in despair going, "Why is everything in this world so ugly?"
Yeah.
And he has complained multiple times about the Rana being ugly, the Hag being ugly, Verlox being ugly. So he is just, by this point, he's like, why is everything in this world so ugly?
The Banshee's like touching his face, and he's like, "I've brought an offering." And then the Banshee touches his face, and he's like, no. It's down here. Eggs. Eggs are good.
Yeah, like, it's very funny to watch. It's the most uncomfortable Shondo is in the entire show.
Yeah.
This is Shondo's also first face challenge.
Yeah, the first time he has to face one of these challenges. And, because he's Shondo, crushes it.
Yeah. I would say he doesn't crush it as much as he's crushed other challenges.
Well, he won.
This one was at least a little bit close.
Right.
So, now it is Lena and Patrick. And, Lena... This is interesting because it was an aquatic challenge. Lena has no makeup on. And Lena's hairstyles have gotten less and less intricate. Right. It's because Leticia was doing her hair.
Oh, okay.
So when Leticia left, because I actually had a note where I was like, did the hairstylist quit? Because...
No, she was banished.
Because Lena had these, like, elaborate braided hairstyles in earlier episodes. And then the end episodes, it's a much more simple... Perhaps one someone could do to themselves instead of having a friend help her.
That makes sense.
So there is a tie because there's 2 and 2.
Yes, and so
Andrew chooses Lena, and Shondo chooses Patrick.
Right.
And now you finally get your wish, and the mark means something.
Yes.
The mark of strength went to Andrew. So Andrew is permitted to make the final choice on who will stay.
Yes. They will get to be the tiebreaker vote. From a reality show point of view, I'm curious to know if they knew this going in. I'm going to guess not.
I mean, the votes do make sense. Like, Andrew votes for Lena because Andrew talks about in his talking head, like, having an emotional attachment to Lena.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, from a gameplay point of view, if you knew that the person who won the mark would break ties, that would affect gameplay. And it's not something that we see.
Yeah, this is the only time we see it.
So I'm guessing it's sprung on you.
Yeah. So Andrew stands there and, like, this is different because he has to actually look at them. This is the first time you've had to look at each other.
Yeah.
Because usually the paladins who are up for elimination are standing with their backs to the other paladins. So they are only looking at the fates. So it's not until they turn around and see who voted for them. This time, Andrew looks at both of them, goes between them, and returns to his space at Lena's shoulder.
Yeah, it'd be weird if he changed his mind at that moment, to be honest.
Yeah. Lena and Patrick embrace, and Andrew kind of, like, comforts Lena, who has started to cry.
Right.
Because this has been, like, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena's been up for the last couple eliminations at this point. So, like, Lena is really the underdog. She is kind of getting through on the skin of her teeth now.
Yes.
This is the third Fates challenge where she has been in the vote.
Right.
And Lena believes that she was chosen because the boys believed Patrick was a stronger competitor, and they're now at the end of the series and need to, like, choose who they think they could beat.
Yeah, which is weird that it makes this shift out of nowhere, because the whole time it has been who's the true hero, who will help us in our goal of saving this kingdom. This is the first time where it's like, I think I could beat Patrick.
Yes.
And Andrew never admits that that's what he did.
No, Andrew just emphasizes his, quote, emotional attachment to Lena.
Yeah.
Which, like, would sound in any other show like a crush, but, like, this is such a strange format.
Yeah.
That you could totally see it's, like, this brothers in arms situation.
Yeah.
And, again, Patrick is also a realistic plot elimination.
Yeah.
In a fantasy story. Patrick is the oldest remaining competitor. He's been kind of like the big brother mentor to everybody. And what happens to the mentor in the 11th hour of a quest?
Yeah, they die.
Yes. So that's kind of this, like, the most notable thing about this elimination is we don't see Patrick's, like, Force Ghost. Over the Hall of
they
Fates.
never actually make his Force Ghost. It's very odd.
And nothing else happens.
Yeah, the show just kind of ends.
Yeah, like, this is a weird elimination. This has been the most plot-heavy episode of, like, we had to have all this stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, he doesn't get the, like, farewell montage that Bonnie got. Like, Patrick is just kind of eliminated. In a way that, like, alright, we got rid of the mentor. Like, it's, you know...
I'm guessing this episode ran long.
Yeah, it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi dying. And, like, he dies, and then they all have to go, like, blow up the Death Star. So then we have the finale.
Yes.
And it's the 3 remaining paladins and Ansgar. And he's leading them toward, like, the end challenge. But they come against Dark Riders for Verlox. And Ansgar's like, I'll create a diversion. He GTA's a horse.
Yeah.
He just kind of, like, throws the rider off and just takes a horse and it's like, my horse now.
Well, he also gets, like, bashed in the face and we think, like, he's captured.
I was about to say, he's then quickly overpowered.
Okay.
And overpowered like a boss.
Right.
Like, there's, like, 8 of them and 1 of him.
Yeah, like, yeah, bring it.
Yeah, like, it is, again, very tropey of, like, it's Syrio Forel in Game of Thrones. How he goes out to save Arya like a boss.
Yeah, like, this is a grand sacrifice because he now truly believes in the paladins.
And Shondo has a really great talking head about, like, how great Ansgar is and how much all of the paladins, including him, respect Ansgar.
Yeah.
And then Creo is able to get them to the Fates.
Yes, they end up going to the Fates during the day, which is something that we've never seen before.
So instead of the darkness, it's the same set, but it's in the daylight. It's still cool looking. The Fates' clothes are still grand. And then I have this moment of, like, why didn't they just sleep in the Hall of Fates?
Because I think the answer we're supposed to get is the Hall of Fates is not really a location. It is something that appears to them.
And it appears specifically to Creo.
Yeah. Because
Creo leads the Queen to the Hall of Fates, and, like, it's this whole thing that, like, it appears during the day.
Yeah.
And Lena says she has 3 older brothers again, to the point where I wrote, drink every time Lena says she has 3 older brothers.
Because she does.
And she's kind of planning that for this final challenge, she is going to pit Shondo and Andrew against each other, and then kind of sneak under the 2 of them.
Right.
Like, focus them on each other, and then weasel through. And this is as you called what this was going to be. You said it was going to be a, like, mega mix challenge of multiple pieces, like Whodunit.
Yeah, it's going to be a let's run around and do everything.
So the first part of the challenge is there is a map in a vine. So the first part of the challenge is you have to hack and slash these vines because there's a map in one of the vines.
Yes.
And as Noah says...
Yeah, we start with luck.
Yes. Gotta love a good luck challenge. Shondo gets his map first and hauls ass ahead.
Yeah.
Then Lena gets hers. Shondo gets to the next point before her. And it is it is 3 sets of scales with 6 items. Yeah. And you have to balance the scale.
Right.
And Shondo has an incredibly difficult time with this challenge.
Yeah, he just can't figure out what he needs to be doing.
It gives Lena time to get to the challenge, and Lena really takes her time and she's very careful and thoughtful. Andrew has missed the fact that he has already cut the vine with the map.
Yeah.
Andrew is so hack and slash, he never sees the map fall, then looks behind him and realizes it fell some time ago. So then he has to haul himself to catch up.
Right.
Andrew barely gets to the third challenge when Lena balances the scale and runs.
Yeah.
So Lena is the first person easily through the second challenge.
Yes.
Shondo is really frustrated. Shondo is having the world's hardest time with it.
Yeah.
Andrew chooses to think about what he's learned, and Andrew is able to balance his scale before Shondo.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this. It's 6 items.
Yeah.
And you just need to make sure that the scales are balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lena was the one that was kind of like weighing each against each other.
Yeah.
It was like just trying to like do a process of elimination. But like if you brute force this, it really shouldn't take that long.
No.
If you try every combination of 3 things and 3 things, like it really should be that like pretty quick.
My thought is that Shondo like panicked and forgot which combinations he'd already tried.
Right.
Because you don't have like a piece of paper in front of you. You can't go, well, I've done A, B, and C together. I've done A, B, and D together.
Right.
So like we see him pick things up and put things back down. And I'm assuming he just doesn't remember which combinations he has done versus has.
Yeah.
So Andrew gets there. And then we get the chain link challenge. They have to chain an ogre into a cellar?
Yeah, we never actually see the ogre.
No.
But it's basically you have to run through these chains, through these hooks, and it basically explains that you have to go like from one side to the other every time.
Yes.
And you have to use every hook.
Yeah, and the instructions say like you have to go left to right.
Left to right, and then you got to lock it with a lock.
It is literally reading comprehension and tedium.
I mean, like, honestly, the reading comprehension is not that hard. It's
No.
just a lot of, like, pulling heavy chain through these holes.
But the reading comprehension is a big part of it.
It shouldn't be. It is. But it shouldn't be.
So what happens is, they also say only 2 people will progress from this challenge.
Yes.
So whichever one of them does not complete this one in time will be eliminated.
Right.
So, Lena is working through it.
Right.
Andrew cannot find his chain.
Andrew, he doesn't really even look. He just kind of like eyeballs his area and was like, oh, I left the chain back at the scales. Which he didn't.
No,
it is sitting right there.
Yeah, the chains were left by. And he takes so long to run there and back. Lena's like almost halfway done.
Yeah, and like Shondo's like, I don't know what Andrew's doing. He's back.
Yeah, and it's like a really funny talking head of Shondo being like, what are you? All right, whatever. So Lena's like working calmly and carefully. And then Andrew gets back and sees the chains next to the cellar door.
Yeah.
And then he rushes through the challenge and does everything wrong.
Yes.
So he has to undo about half the door.
Yep.
Because he doesn't finish. He gets a strong way through it and then realizes.
Yeah, that he did not do it right.
And then there's both still there when Shondo finally balances the scale.
Yes.
So he is running forward and Lena gets the lock before Shondo actually even gets to the cellar doors.
Yeah. So she's got a nice lead over
Yes.
both of them, really.
Yeah, so we hear her in the woods, like, come on, you can do this.
Yeah, keep pushing.
Like, because we have no idea.
The distance between
Yeah,
obstacles.
we don't know if it's, a 2-minute run, a 10-minute run.
Right.
And the final challenge is back to the beginning. It's an archery challenge.
It's an archery challenge.
If you get a bullseye, a bridge will fall, and you will be able to go fulfill your destiny.
Right.
So, during this, she's having a hard time.
Yeah, it's a lot of shots of Lena, like, quietly cursing at herself as she shoots arrows into the woods.
She's close on a lot of them. Like, she hits the target a lot, but she just doesn't get a bullseye.
Yes, there's also a few that, like, hit the target and fall.
Yeah. And then Andrew completes the task correctly.
Yes.
And Shondo is eliminated.
Yes, so we see him get
Thanos
Thanos snapped.
Yeah. And then we get, like, Shondo's little retrospective montage in here about, like, Shondo is the confident warrior and how well he's performed. We get his sizzle reel, his best of.
Yes, exactly. And you see him being a badass.
Yeah. And then we get this, and then we see Andrew taking off toward the final archery challenge. And he gets there right as Lena hits the target. He never even picks up a bow.
He never even gets to.
He doesn't get to fire an arrow. So then Andrew gets dusted.
Yes.
And we get his retrospective almost immediately.
Right.
And it's about how much he's learned and how he has become a better person and a better everything he's ever been, and how much he's learned from the other paladins. So then Lena crosses the bridge and she is won.
Mm-hmm. She, like, teleports to the Fates.
Well, no, she actually just climbs the bridge and they're there.
No, there's, like, an effect.
Oh, yeah, there's the effect of, like, she, I guess, gets dusted and then appears at the Fates.
Yeah, she's transported there.
And we realize this whole part now is just plot.
Yes.
She has to act out the end of the story. Mm-hmm. So she arrives at the Fates like, sup, Fates? And they bid her approach, and she's told to assemble the spear.
Which is funny to me, because there's, like, a moment where you see her just kind of, like, screwing stuff together. It's like, yes, assemble this spear. Okay.
And then a smash cut to the spear being pretty much done except for the last piece. Because it's very IKEA looking.
Yes.
So
you couldn't have helped. You couldn't have assembled this by the time all right, Fates, thanks.
So then they're kind of do the, like, do you accept the challenge? And Lena's like, I sure do.
Nah.
So she is standing alone in front of the Fates. And then there's a special effect. And then a superhero landing. As all 11 paladins return.
Yes.
And we get Lena's retrospective. Now that she has won.
Right.
And her voiceover is in tears.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is won. This is her triumph. And you see Adria beaming at her and Leticia beaming at her and Shondo announcing that, like, when the light shined brightest, Lena performed, which was his phrase. When the light shine brightest, they performed. And he even says, when the light shine brightest, I didn't perform when he's eliminated. So we get this great moment where the other paladins are cheering for her and smiling at her. And it's this really, like, have you seen or read the 7th Harry Potter book?
Yeah.
When he uses the Resurrection Stone and the 3 non-evil marauders and Lily arrive, it felt like that. This, like, very important, like, we are about to do the plot.
Yeah, here we go.
Here is everybody who means something to you. And Ansgar also rematerializes. And he looks like he has seen some shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's been roughed up. He has, like, a head wound.
Yeah, we kind of thought he was dead. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see him. And
I straight up cheered because I am, like, at this point in the episode, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Like, I am all dweeb-ass dweeb in. And I'm like, yeah! Ansgar's back! What's up? And, like, he informs us that the Queen and Creo are missing.
Right.
And that we have to, like, that the paladins have to do this. So what's going to happen is there is an underground passage that is very small.
Yes.
That they're going to send Lena through. so that she can get to Verlox directly. And Ansgar and the Paladins will create a diversion.
Right.
So, there's this creepy passage. And I have to admit that this is the least funny because it's Lena. Mm-hmm. Like, Lena or Adria would not have been that funny.
Yeah.
Or Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been really funny to watch, like, Shonda.
Shonda with this big spear, God.
Like, trying to fit through this very small passage.
Yeah, it would have been a hassle.
It would have been kind of hilarious. So then, like, the other paladins storm the castle, and everybody gets to do some, like, cool fighting shit.
Yeah. Everyone gets to, like, jump in and do some stuff, but I think we are both in agreement. The person who got to do the coolest stuff was Patrick.
Oh, yeah, Patrick's, like, wrecking people.
Patrick threw a guy off a horse.
Yeah, like, Patrick is, like, kicking ass and taking... Patrick is the Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
Of this battle. Of, like, he just comes in, he's, like, you know, wrecking everything. Mm-hmm. Now, this is super interesting to me. Because in the interviews in the Geek Initiative, the Paladins say that they trained for this final battle after they were eliminated.
That makes sense.
Which means Patrick had, what, 12 hours?
Roughly, yeah.
Because he would have been eliminated the night before.
Right.
And he was doing a lot of cool stuff.
We don't know when this was filmed.
Yeah, I'm assuming every episode seemed to be about that 2-day model.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is a day after the challenge, at least.
Yeah. So this is cool, and, like, Patrick's doing a lot considering he was in for the shortest amount of time. But we see everybody get to do some things, even, like, Katie, who we haven't seen since the first episode. And Lena gets through the passage, and she's in the Battle Dome. There's also this really good moment where, like, Ansgar's in trouble, and Leticia, like, Kool-Aid mans through a bunch of people to save him. And it's this, like, really good moment, because, like, Leticia and Ansgar have had, like, a very good rapport. Mm-hmm. Of, like, she's the one who, like, cuts through the crap and goes, like, how do you know that guy?
Yeah.
And, like, probably in a realistic battle simulation, like, Ansgar would probably lean on Leticia because of the kind of fighter she has shown herself to be.
She did win that badge.
But, like, she's also probably one of the better balances of physical strength versus mental strength in the show.
Before we get to that.
Yes.
There's a nice little bit of direction here in that, like, you mentioned Lena goes through the Battle Dome and stuff. Lena kind of takes us a journey through all of the, like, main locations of the castle.
Yes.
Kind of a, like, remember this? Mm-hmm. Remember this? Then we trained and we got here, and then we got here, and it all led up to this. So a nice little bit of, like, visual storytelling here. Yeah,
and she ends up, I think, in what looks like their common room.
Was it?
It looked like it. It was an interior room in the castle.
Yeah, we don't see that in daytime very often, so it's hard to say.
Verlox has the Queen and Creo prisoner.
Yes.
And Creo, like, pleads with Lena, like, trust yourself, you're the one true hero, you can do this. Because Verlox is like, just give me.
Yeah, Verlox is claiming that, like, he knew that this would happen, and the way that it actually ends is the one true hero brings him the Sun Spear.
Yeah.
And clinches his victory.
And Lena's like, nah?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
So the dark forces begin to get the upper hand on the other paladins as Lena and Verlox fight. And then the Vizier comes out, and he, like, goes to stab Lena.
Yes.
And Ansgar dispatches him.
Yes.
Ansgar's like, nah, fam.
That ain't happening.
So we get this, like, super cool fight, and then she finishes him with a special effect.
Yes, and
like,
stabs him with the chest, and there's, like, a beam of light that comes out of it.
I don't even think she stabs him. I think she just aims it at him, and then the power of the sun.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very goreless, you know, PG fantasy.
Yeah.
So, like, a magical sunbeam destroys the darkness. And fireworks are shot off throughout Sanctum.
Yes.
Because they've vanquished the darkness. The 12 kingdoms of Everhelm are back to being harmonious and happy.
Yes, we have the one true hero, and it's Lena.
And then the paladins get this royal farewell, and there's this, like, nice, like, parade sequence where it's Lena and then the 11 other paladins in formation.
Right.
And it's, like, this really nice moment, and they have hero capes, and they're talking about how much they loved Everhelm, and how much, and Patrick's like, I'll move here.
Yeah, I'll have a vacation home.
And that's the end of the series.
Yes. Except.
You see the vizier in his dungeon cell. And then we see someone untie his hands. And the vizier turns around and asks his unknown rescuer, "What took you so long?"
Smash cut to black.
Yup, and that was the quest.
Yes.
This show is wild.
This show's a lot of fun. It really is. So we got to start here. Who do you think freed the vizier?
So in reading I have who I want it to be.
Oh, do you know?
No.
Okay.
In the Geek Initiative interviews, there was apparently a joke at one point that the Queen and the Vizier were having an affair.
Oh.
So I think it would be crazy interesting if it were the Queen.
Interesting. I like that. I kind of had a thought that maybe it was Lena. Because of the words that were used. Were like, giving me the sun spear will clinch my victory. And when Lena points the sun spear, her eyes go like weird. Mm-hmm. Like maybe she absorbed part of him.
She Captain Marveled?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like she absorbed the sun spear.
No, she absorbed part of Warlock's.
Okay.
And thus like kind of became him. And then that's where we were going to go.
Or it could be Christian.
Or
he
it could be
finally
Christian.
Betray everyone.
I always think it's Christian.
He is the, if you've seen A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, he's
yeah.
Red Herring.
Yes, he's Red Herring. Red Herring. No! I thought this was very interesting, and like the tease for season 2 is very interesting.
Yes.
Because it's good to know like they were going to continue this story.
Yes. And it seems like they had an idea for what that second season would be. I don't have that information.
Okay. Do you have any other information to add before we give this a rating?
This was an incredibly immersive experience for the Paladins.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like off camera, Ansgar, Creo, and the Queen turned into the people they normally were. Mm-hmm. Everything was immersive.
That's awesome. When
the cameras were not on them, Ansgar was still Ansgar when he was with the Paladins.
Interesting.
So this was like this crazy immersive experience. And the cast as it stands is actually very close still.
Cool.
As I mentioned in the previous episode, there is a very active fan community for this show called the Quest Army on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I posted like a, "Hi, we just watched the show. This was cool. I'd love to talk to anybody involved."
Yeah.
And like the fans and several cast members were like immediately responsive.
Which is super cool.
It was really cool. We can't like announce anything yet because we're not exactly sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. I also have mutual friends on Facebook with a couple of these people.
Yeah.
And I had this moment of like, how come I have mutuals with people from the Quest? And then like I think about how small the nerd world is, and I'm like,
yeah,
of course I have mutuals with. Mm-hmm. So it's this incredibly active group, and like, so there's still, it's about the anniversary right now.
Is it? Yeah.
It's about the 5th anniversary. Well, Bonnie posted in that group that like my thumb still hurts. Like, she kind of like made a joke about how her thumb was never the same after it.
Gotcha.
So like, it's this really interesting, super, super niche community. Like, they do an exchange every Christmas called Questmas.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's like really, and they're very, very nice. And like, it's this really cool fan base. And they have had ideas about season 2.
Huh.
And like, your first idea was like, they should go to space.
Yeah, I thought that season 2 should be sci-fi.
And this was before we saw the last episode. We were talking about space. And that has also come up in the Quest Army group. The Quest Army group has also talked about like ways to incorporate the season 1 paladins.
Okay.
So like, kind of having the season 1 paladins be a resource. Mm-hmm. Kind of like having them take some of what Creo and Ansgar were doing in this season, and some of it is going to be other people.
Gotcha.
Like, I imagine like Shondo would be working more closely with Ansgar.
Okay, so similar to the way girls come back in Rock of Love.
Yeah, to do like a challenge.
It's like, we have to do battle against this guy. I'm Shondo.
Yeah, like the roller derby challenge in Rock of Love, where like you see Lacey going like, "What up, skanks?"
Yeah.
like, picture that, it's like a research challenge, but they get there and it's Paladin Jim going, "What's up, skanks?"
I'm Jimbo Slice.
Yeah, like that. So, like, there's still a change.org petition for bringing back the quest for season 2.
Awesome.
So they, like, this fan base is still really active.
Yeah. It's a cool show.
It's such a cool show. And the Paladins, based on something that was in the Facebook thread I was in, they still talk and they still meet up.
That's awesome.
Paladin Jim mentioned at one point, like, "Oh, I'll be in the neighborhood with other Paladins soon."
Oh, cool.
So, like, they are still in touch with each other.
That's awesome.
And that's really cool. So, like, they had this crazy, unique experience together. And I've always wondered who still speaks after a show.
Right.
So this is, like, the most the curtain's ever been down. Mm-hmm. With, like, oh, we still speak. Oh, this was really cool. So, we're hoping that we are going to be able to do an episode of Stay Doomed that will be a very special episode based on interviews with some of the Paladins from the quest.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll be able to reach out. We're setting up a time, hopefully very soon.
Yes.
So that should be the next episode. And
there might be an episode between that and this one,
we'll
depending on what we're able to do.
So my big question is, I'm not sure if you found this in your research. What was the prize?
I never found out.
Never found out the prize. I always thought that was odd.
And I also, like, I have not been in touch with Lena.
Yeah, does Lena have the sun spear, like, above her mantle?
I have no idea. I actually would very much like to reach out to Lena.
Yeah?
Because I went to first grade with her.
It's so weird.
Yes, we're watching the show and it said, like, her hometown. And I'm staring at her like, wait a minute. And then you watched me go into, like, my closet.
Yeah.
And produce this, like, ye old time school book.
Yep.
Of, like, all of my mementos from childhood, because I am ye old hoarder. And I pulled out this, like, weird newspaper clipping of 3 little boys.
Mm-hmm.
Lena.
Yep.
And me.
Yep.
And I look like a class 1 ham.
Did you think that she was the one true hero when you met her in first grade?
No, in first grade, I was so viciously self-centered that there was no way I was not the one true hero.
Oh, okay.
I probably thought I was the one true hero.
That makes sense.
So yeah, like, so I would actually really love to talk to Lena because I have this weird, like, I don't really remember any, like, I believe we were, like, friends?
Yeah.
But, like, I don't remember anything about, like, I don't remember much of first grade because it was first grade.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So, like, there's this picture of us together, so I clearly knew her at some point.
Yeah.
But
so, what's your vote here?
I'm gonna call this a stay tuned because I think based on the quest Bible essentially I was given, they knew everything about this kingdom. It could have been like, okay, you've saved Castle Sanctum. You know, now you, Ansgar, and Creo are going to the next kingdom to help them with this problem.
Right.
And, like, they clearly had the Vizier as the big bad, and they clearly had a plan for what they were going to do.
Right.
So, I'm going to call it a stay tuned, because I think it was a really interesting show. It was not a great reality show.
Right.
But it was a really good, fun thing to watch. And it, like, as a dweeb, it was really fun to watch this, like, cool wish fulfillment fantasy.
Absolutely. I'm also going to say it's a stay tuned. Because I said in the last episode that, like, halfway through it, I was like, this is the best show I will ever say stay doomed to. Because it's not succeeding in what it's supposed to be. Which I considered a reality show set in a fantasy world. It is a fantasy show that happens to be a reality show.
Yes.
So it is a fantasy show first. And if you look at it that way, it tells a nice story, like beginning, middle, end, character growth. Like, it succeeds there.
Absolutely.
And it's very good. I was also in the camp of like, oh, next season should be sci-fi. I think that they could just continue this story. I also think that since it is unclear what the prize is, season 2 could have just been a scripted show with Lena as like a Xeno warrior princess character.
Lena, warrior princess.
Yeah, where it's just like, yeah, I'm the one true hero, and now each week you'll join me on an adventure, and we just like lose the reality show completely.
Yeah, and then like the other paladins just come around sometimes.
Yeah. Like, I think they could have just been like, yeah, the prize is you get to be a show, and you get to be the hero of the show.
And that would have been cool.
That would have been real cool.
Yeah, the show did fairly well. It had a huge Twitter following.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it had a huge following in that it still has a following, and it was a one-season show 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And there are still people talking about it that aren't us specifically.
Yeah, how about that?
Like, usually with these shows, it's like, hey, it's me and 3 other people. Like, you know, with Daisy of Love, where it was like, it's us and Reality Graveyard.
Yes. Hi, Reality Graveyard.
Hi, don't threaten me with a good time.
Real quick, I guess, programming, we
Yes.
should mention. Next week will either be an interview with the Quest or a retrospective of year 1 of Stay Doomed.
Year 1? That doesn't... Shouldn't you say Stay Doomed, the series?
No, we're going to talk about what's going on and what the future of Stay Doomed holds.
But we're getting canceled after 1 season.
No, I think we're Stay Tuned.
What took you so long? That's what the Vizier says.
I got it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that for the benefit of our audience, and you also looked at me like I was an idiot.
So thank you so much for watching. Where can people find us, Laura?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com or on Facebook and Twitter @StayDoomed.
And if you want to talk to me about how you would write Lena Warrior Princess, I'm at TV's Noah.
If you have, like, a distressing number of mutual friends with the cast members of any one particular reality show, I'm at Priorities. Until next time, stay doomed.